So we're talking with James Tison. He is in Brooklyn, New York. He is the winner of the TV SPEC Screenplay Contest for his very, very funny South Park script. How's it going, James?
It's going well.
So great. So you saw the reading of your TV SPEC Screenplay online. What were your initial thoughts?
I did. I was very happy with it. I thought everyone did a really great job. I'd seen the others, and I didn't know. I was like, well, they gotta do the voices, and so I was happy that, especially the people who played like Cartman and the kids, really sort of committed and did the fun South Park voices I was hoping for.
Yeah, it was one of those things where either like nobody does it or everybody does it. It's kind of like
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Has to be all in. So yeah, I was really happy with it. My favorite, I have to say, I loved watching. I think he was playing either Stan or Kyle, because he's like he looked like such like a straight bro, like of an actor, and so like he totally like was a South Park fan, and so watching his reaction, I felt like he was enjoying it. It felt very good. It was very validating.
Oh, you liked his reactions to the. Gotcha.
Yeah, as well as his performance. Fantastic. I enjoyed watching him react to the script.
Yeah, all the actors were really like gun ho doing this script, like especially the three or four main leads. They were like really looking forward to doing it. Especially the guy who played Cartman. He was just like dying to do that. It was Cartman thing.
He was fantastic. I was very happy with his Cartman.
It's one of those things where it's like it's an animation thing, so it's just like it's very like you gotta like think fourth dimensionally a little bit, I guess.
Right.
If it makes any sense. So
it does.
So why South Park? Like when you started getting in the TV spec writing game, why did you decide to write South Park?
Well, I'm a crazy fan of the show, and I started actually just like maybe like 3 years ago. I was like in California visiting my family, and with nothing to do, I was like, you know what, I think it would be a funny idea for a South Park script. And so this is before I even had like a concept of what a spec script was, before I was even thinking about pursuing television writing. So I really liked the show. I was in the idea that I came up with was like a fun way to make fun of my own personal student debt. I love like Little Mermaid parodies in general, so I just sort of did it. And then I wrote like maybe like 10 pages, and they were sort of rough. But maybe then, like a year later, I realized I learned what a spec script was, and I realized that all these things that I was doing in my spare time, where I was writing fake TV episodes and things like that, that was actually like, oh, that's how you pursue that career.
Yeah.
So that's really how I came to it. I think I wrote it over the course of like a year and a half.
But you're already a writer. Like you've done other writing in the past. Well, right? So you didn't.
Yeah. Well, I studied theater, so I was an actor.
Okay.
Foremost, and then I went into comedy and sketch and stand up and improv, which is writing in its own self. So once I got to like the format of a television script, it all felt like a very natural extension of what I had already been doing in stand up and sketch.
Yeah, and I guess that South Park was like that was a big show for you, like in terms of like, I guess it's like one of those, it's like a society kind of like they're taking shots at society.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that aspect of it I love, and then also every bit of advice I got about like what your spec script should be, especially your first one. It should be a show that you love, and that you just know. And I know that show like the back of my hand. Actually, I wrote in school. I wrote an essay on South Park for my political theater class.
Okay.
So like I had like part of what attracted me to that show is that not only is it funny and it has this very unique voice and always has and always will, but it's some of the best political theater like in the mainstream that's occurring, and it continues to be. So yeah, I love the show.
And it gets keep ticking. Like I remember like being a kid and that show was on. Now I'm an adult with like married and everything. It's like but it's still ticking. It's kind of amazing like how it's almost like The Simpsons in a way. Like the show just like kind of changes, like transcends generations in many ways.
I agree. Well, and in a lot of ways, I think it's been a little more successful than The Simpsons, which is not. I'm not like going to sit here and criticize The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I do think that South Park has done a better job of, while it has like in terms of quality gone up and down, it's been mostly pretty consistent for 16 years.
I guess the difference is that The Simpsons, one, they have to shoot, they have to do more episodes, so that kind of like stretches the creativity there. But two, they bring in different showrunners every 3 or 4 years, where South Park is the same creators throughout, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is like Trey Parker and Matt Stone, like maybe it always will be. if anyone else was the showrunner, it would be South Park.
But they bring in new writers, I know they bring in new writers all the time, but they're still the heart and soul of that show.
Exactly. There's this great documentary called 6 Days of South Park, and it's in like their first episode of like the 13th season. It's just a documentary about them making that one episode. And in it, Matt Parker and Trace Bone are saying like, well, we're the band. Like everyone, all the other writers are, we love them and we bring them on and they come and they go and they're fantastic. But ultimately, at the end of the day, South Park is Trey Parker and Matt Stone. That's the band. Everyone else is sort of backup.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a very brilliant show, and we've all grown with it too. I was in fourth grade when it first came out, and it was very potty humor. That show, I think, has grown just as much with our generation as our generation has grown with it.
Yeah, totally. But at the same time, like you can't underestimate their storytelling abilities as well. Like they basically they just don't do it for laughs. Like there's actually a cohesive story in every episode going on.
Absolutely. I love the Imagination Land trilogy because it's such a thesis on story structure. Like, while it is also like hilarious and so forth, it's such a testament to what you're saying of their understanding of story structure and how to put a script together to say something to also be funny and also be funny in like in a poop humor sort of way. To do all of these intelligent, brilliant things and then also have the elements of trashy humor. I love it and I always will.
So what's the future for you? Are you writing a pilot or a TV pilot, another spec? Like what do you want to jump from this victory, I guess, in many ways? Like your brilliant job like doing this show.
Thank you. I am writing a pilot. I found the TV personalities or writers that I've been most attracted to have been like, for instance, Roseanne, who is that shit, but also she has some like really powerful things to say about class politics, especially in America. And I think that the show Roseanne is the best example of like a TV show being really, really funny and really, really amazing while speaking to these things. So with all of that in mind, I'm working on a pilot. It's set in like a small town gay bar in Texas, and it's like a Glee meets Cheers, I guess.
Okay.
So it's like a New York gay guy who has to move back to his hometown for basically alcoholism reasons, and sort of finds this unexpected family at this small town gay bar, and there's karaoke numbers and so forth. So that's my current.
But I thought there wasn't gay people in Texas. I thought that wasn't allowed.
Well, we're very under the radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. There's no parade except in our own mind. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now.
Well, it sounds like a great idea. Just to go back, you're talking about Roseanne, because I don't like that show that occurred in the 80s. I don't think that show can get made now, to tell you the truth. I don't think that show can be on TV now.
I don't think it can be made in the same way. I think there's a couple of things. The format of the four-camera sitcom is not dead, but very, very different than it was in 1989 when Roseanne came out, or 1997 when it ended. Just that style of show, I don't think is possible in the same way anymore. But in terms of a show centered around like working class people and working class, maternal figures specifically, I think that's extremely possible, and I think it's unbelievably like lacking right now. I think a lot of the.
Well, I think it's lacking. That's what I don't see poor people on TV now. That's what I was trying to get. I don't see that type of person on TV anymore.
You don't, and in fact, again, I'm not. When I say this, I'm not criticizing these shows. They're amazing, but the only time you see poor people on TV is Breaking Bad or Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
All these shows where there's this sort of crime element to it, because that's all poor people do apparently is sell meth.
Yeah.
And it's not being made. So maybe you're correct, and I don't know if it could be made, but I think there's definitely room for shows about poor people, regardless of race or gender or whatever. But yeah, I think at this point it's so necessary that it's just like it has to happen.
But it's like one of those things where like it's because now I think that if it goes back to Breaking Bad or even Sons of Anarchy, they're really shows about pride and basically shows about like what I don't have and what other people have, and I kind of want that in a sense. So I gotta do this, and this to get that. Whereas like Roseanne was never really about like pride. It was about them just being normal people.
Yeah, if anything, it was about how they were completely incapable of having pride, so they just made jokes instead.
I guess so, yeah. But it's like, but at the same time, what I'm trying to say, it's like the people want to watch that now, especially. It's almost like ironic in a sense, whereas the economy was good when Roseanne was on, so they could have that show, but now the economy is bad, so they don't want to show those shows on TV, kind of a thing.
That I think is really funny because I actually never thought about that, how good the economy was in the 90s.
Like it's almost historic in a way. Like if you compare it to other, I guess when you live it, you don't really notice it, right?
Well, and I was also, 10, so I just thought it was always going to be this way.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
By the time I was 27, it was
yeah.
But it is funny because the economy is considerably worse now, and yet the shows that really, especially the family-centered show, like Modern Family, which again is very funny and very great, very upper middle class.
Yeah.
And you're not. If Roseanne calls all of these housewives like capitalist whores. I'm not going that far, but I do think I don't know, there's got to be like room for people to be on television, living their lives, without it being about getting out of their poverty cycle or running a drug ring.
Yeah.
There's the poor people do other things.
Yeah, because like Big Bang Theory is about like doctors and Two and a Half Men, like all these popular shows, they're all rich people, I guess.
Exactly. Even Arrested Development, which obviously I love. Less obvious, I love the fourth season. Even within the context of that show, which has a lot to say about class, you're still focused on rich people.
Yeah.
And that's the joke, of course. But there is nothing like Roseanne or All in the Family on the air right now.
Yeah, exactly.
My ultimate goal, and part of what I'm working on with the pilot that I was mentioning earlier, is I typically would love to see four gay people. I feel like that. I mean, if we're not seeing four people in general, we're certainly not seeing four gay people. And there's between you add it all up, the LGBTQIA, it's a good amount of the population, and most of them are not the upper middle class representation that we on the new normal or really anything when gay people are portrayed. So.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing too, and I think that we're headed there. Like you brought Modern Family, like that gay couple is doing well, right? So like they,
right.
Yeah.
And I love them. Yeah. They're so cute together, and they really are great characters. But when it comes down, I'm just not. I'm like a 27-year-old broke gay guy in Brooklyn. I don't identify with that. Like, I don't know. I love what presentations like that Modern Family. I love what they're doing for like visibility and for like people who see Modern Family and think less terrible things about gay guys who adopt kids. That's wonderful. But there's other stuff.
No, but I think you're onto something because I think that is the next step, right? Like you got to do that step first in order to get to the step that you're talking about.
Exactly. Like if it wasn't for like anything that I would hope to do, in terms of lofty goals, television writing could not possibly be done without the things I'm talking about. Being on TV.
Like the metaphor is like there's like a few shows had to occur before the Cosby Show occurred, kind of a thing, right? So
that's the great,
yeah.
Well, and then I think Roseanne might not have been greenlit without Married with Children.
Yeah, which is ironic because the tone was so different on those two shows, right? So
completely different,
yeah. So yeah, it's all interesting.
It seems granted I'm relatively new to TV writing, but I've been watching TV for 24 years. And it does seem to be the trend. Like something has to happen, like some show has to be made, or something has to fail or even do well to kind of hint at what you're hoping to do, so that then you can do it.
Yeah, totally. But that's like me. It's all about everything needs to kind of have these steps to get to where things go. And a lot of times too, things go full circle. Things have to go all the way around in a circle, and you kind of are left where you started. Except it's a little bit different, right? So.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, like it seems like you got like Glee meets like Glee without the musicals, or are you gonna do some like musical like numbers in between the comedy bit?
Because the Glee aspect of it is not really fair.
Yeah. Okay.
So essentially, what the aspect of is the musical numbers are karaoke numbers. It's like
Gotcha.
Karaoke and drag numbers, like a bar with like a drag night and performers and stuff. So like in the first episode, there's two karaoke numbers. The first one is like a 75-year-old gay trucker singing Loretta Lynn's Fifth City, and that's the introduction to the bar. And then it wraps up with one of the gay characters, also a drag character, in drag anymore with like lesbian truck driver backup singers. Like that's the aesthetic, not quite the polished musical number of Glee or Smash or what trashier.
Yeah. Well, James, like, good luck with it because you got something to say, and like, you wrote a terrific spec, and like, you can always tell when the actors come in and they're like, and you're doing a few specs in the same evening. They're like, I want to do South Park, I want to do South Park. It's like, it's like that's why they're there. They're there to do your script. So basically, and like, everybody's all excited to do it. So that's the highest compliment I can give you.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I did not anticipate becoming so opinionated during the interview, but I totally did.
No, it's great. And say hello to Brooklyn. I used to live there, so hope it's doing well.